Howdy.
Hi, Stephen. It is so nice to talk to you. To say it's
Oh,
a pleasure is an understatement.
oh, thanks. I'm thrilled to do this show. It's really funny, I think.
It is. What got you involved in it?
Well, as most things for me at this stage of life is good writing. And that's what I've been trying to do for the last few years is get on something that's really exceptionally written with people you either haven't worked with and want to, or that are good. So everybody in this show is just phenomenal. Great character actors, great voice actors, which are the backbone of this business. So it's a nice mix of those two.
You do a lot of voice acting. What is it that appeals to you about that?
Since it's very hard at this point to book out to do a show in theater, like a theater show in New York. You'd have to book out for rehearsal for a couple of months and then a show for 3 or 4 months. So you're booking out half the year, and that's really tough to do when you're as busy as I am these days. I was able to do an off-Broadway show back in the teens, but
Wow.
in the teens before COVID. But yeah, no, I'm not really able to do that. So the answer to your question is this kind of replaces theater for me, the animation roles.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How does it replace theater for you? What do you find the similarity is between the two?
Well, in theater, you're playing stuff that you can get away with on stage via makeup, via a much bigger performance, and that you can do with animation. You can play anything from a monk to an astronaut, and get away with it because it's a voice. And it's not that you don't still bring your full characterization to a voice. You're probably I know I do. I'm still doing it in my whole body when I play a character with a voice, but in that way it's really fun for me to play something different.
It seems like it would be really freeing.
It is
It's not that you're hiding behind the animation, but that you're almost coming alive behind it.
Yeah, it's putting forward like you would do in a stage performance. You're hitting the back wall sometimes, with pushing that character out, and it's just been a joy to be able to do it with especially good writing like this show has.
And I was surprised that this is not your first time playing a crazy cult leader. What does that say about you?
I'm sorry.
What does that say about you?
Oh yeah, it says that I've always been a little bent, and that's the kind of guys that I like to do. Ever since I started out in the business and did a lot of Shakespeare and a lot of the clowns in that milieu, I've always wanted to just be a little bit off, and gosh, I am.
And what is it about this guy that appeals to you?
Oh, he is way off. He is fantastically off. But I think he's the best and the worst of the boomers. I mean, he's kind of a hippie, kind of a overbearing, privileged white guy who started a cult. And I think he's not a bad guy. I think he's a sweet guy, but he wants what he wants, and then he wants his daughter to take over this milieu of strange people who have their own problems and need to be led and then freed, which is what Petey's trying to do.
And it's almost like a traditional father-daughter relationship between a boomer and a young teen.
Yeah, a dead boomer.
Not a young teen, but a young woman.
A dead boomer at that.
Yes.
Most, he's passed on, but he has left a series of tapes on how he thinks things should be run, and thank goodness Petey doesn't think that's the way to go. So everybody's learning something in this show, and that's always the greatest part of the show is you learn more about life.
Do you have any favorite lines from the show that won't spoil too much of it for people?
Oh. I'd have to go through a script to do that, but gosh, no. The fact that he has his cult is 7 wives. One brings him bacon, one brings him sausage in the morning, and has a bed warmer. I think is
A
so
dog.
funny. It's great. All the interstitial comments in this script are just really funny. The throw off stuff.
And what are some roles that you would love to play that you could, if you could similarly disconnect from yourself? So anything that was ever out there that you've watched and thought that would have been really fun for me to do, even if it was a female role, anything, but
What
couldn't.
I missed was I loved the Catch-22 book and the movie, and everything about it. That's something that I really missed playing, because that's my milieu, is to play some kind of bent character within that. So I kind of wish that I'd been able to do that, but it's that kind of show that I really love, whether it's whether that becomes military, or it's a sci-fi, or it's a horror like True Blood. It's something just a little off is
And
what I enjoy.
you've played a little off characters pretty much in everything that you do, whether it's comedy or drama, voice acting,
Well,
live.
that's well, I've done that in most of my things, but I do like playing serious drama as well, and that's what smaller indie movies afford me.
Right.
So yeah, but I agree with you. Mostly I love to do the bent stuff.
And even sometimes your more serious roles still kind of lean a little bit on humor, which makes sense because that's how life is, even in the most
Life is, and you
tense situations we
hope
do.
that there's some redeeming quality within the character,
Right.
to see it. And there's been a couple that have been not redeemable whatsoever, and that's been fun to play. But mostly I like to play some sort of redemption within that character. Yeah.
When you take stock of your career, what do you consider some of your highlights?
I would say certainly what I just finished, Barry, was one of the big highlights of my career, being able to play with all those amazing actors and those amazing scripts, and Bill Hader directing every episode in the last season. That was a huge highlight. News radio for me was my first kind of big break in TV, although I'd had a series before that, but nothing that well written, and allowing me to really show a wider audience the bent stuff that I love to do, because Jimmy James was off his rocker. But
He really was.
I would say those two, and an animation project, King of the Hill, which we were able to play many different roles, and we played at least 4 different roles per episode, besides our a couple of different persona in each episode, as well as 2 regular people. So, and that lasted 13 years, and we've just rebooted it. So
That's what I was going to say.
it's become a perennial in my life, and I'm very grateful for it.
Are there going to be any changes to King of the Hill, or is it just going to kind of pick up right where they left off?
No, there are changes. We're going in terms of picking up where we left off. We left off 10 years ago, and the characters have aged 10 years.
Oh, good.
Bobby, yeah. So Bobby is now 20, has his own restaurant, and has his own set of problems with people. Hank and Peggy and all the rest of the people are still there. They're a little bit older, and they've all gone through COVID. So there's complications from that. But yeah, otherwise, yes, they're the same people, the same problems, and so funny, and the writing is so good.
Aging doesn't normally happen in animation, so it's
no, and I think that's what's good.
Right. It's exciting.
Go, sure, and it brings in all the problems and different lifestyles of people now, as opposed to 10 years ago or 15 years ago. Yeah.
Well, that's really something to look forward to.
Thank you. I think so too.
What's the most fun you've ever had in a role?
I don't know. Probably what people remember me most for is Milton in Office Space, the swirly guy in that. And that was a blast to do, because that was almost like doing theater on film. It was such a strange character. but it was like doing theater, but doing small theater on film. So that was one of my favorites. I loved the dodgeball guy, was fun. I loved doing Hanks's From the Earth to the Moon. I got to play Chris Kraft, the head of
Right, right.
space program there, and stuff like that. I love that. I like historical characters. I've played several historical people, and most recently, I think in Selma. But yeah, it's a wonderful kind of dichotomy that I get to do, and I'm very lucky.
Did you ever imagine when you were in Office Space that, what is it, 30 years now later,
Oh,
that
it's got to be 25 anyway.
that the stapler thing would still be a meme and people would still be tossing that around?
The fact that they're still selling red staplers is insane.
Crazy.
I don't think that I go to a set, whatever, what it's a movie or a TV or whatever, that the ADs don't have a box of staplers ready for me to sign. I think I've signed staplers on every set I've been on, which is a testament to Mike Judge, and how well that movie holds up, how well King of the Hill holds up, and anything he touches. Yeah.
Oh, and the same goes for you. It's a testament to you and how much of an impact you make when you are in these roles.
Well, thanks.
If it had been somebody different, it might not have come across the same. You
Yeah.
bring
Well,
all these people alive.
I bring the bent.
You do. You bring the bent. You do.
That's a t-shirt right there. Bring the bent.
Bring the bent.
Okay.
Is there a role that you've, or not a role, a question that you've never been asked in an interview, but you've always just wanted to talk about something and tell somebody?
Oh gosh, I could yeah, I can tell you how good my wife is as an actress.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, no, I'm married to Romy Rosemont, which you might know her as the mom in Glee, Finn's mom in Glee. And she's been in many things since. But as for a dramatic sense and a dramatic actress who can do comedy up the yin yang, but is a great dramatic actor, hire my wife, Romy Rosemont. She's fantastic. She's doing a show on Freevee now for Amazon that'll come out in 24, called The Pradeeps of Pittsburgh. An Indian family is trying
Well,
to.
I'm in Pittsburgh, so I'll have to watch that.
Done and done. There you go.
I like that answer very much.
Thank you.
We don't often ask about family, and it's something you
It's
should
good, and
share and
they're your
celebrate.
support. Yeah, they're your support system. They're hugely important in anything that you do, because while you're doing whatever you're supposed to be doing, they have to keep the home fires going, which is interesting for two actors, because sometimes I'll be out of town working and I'll take care of the dogs and whatever, and she'll be out of town. And sometimes we're both out of town and we have to deal with that. So it's the support system has to be good, as you know.
And you have to be strong, like a strong couple, to make that time for each other and not lose track of who you are to each other as well as the world.
As well as the world, right? Exactly. So we're trying to do that.
And my last question for you is, where do you think that Praise Petey is going to fit into your career when you look back on it?
As one of the premier animation shows that I've done, I have done probably 40 of them. And
Yeah.
got to be in the top 5, I think, because of the writing. So good. And I'm a fan of everybody in it. So I think it's a big one.
Thank you so much for your time today, Stephen. Absolute pleasure. Always enjoy you.
So appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.